Mazz, what are you doing over there?
So I have my Patriots paper bag head. We dusted this off many years ago. Do you guys remember this?
I don't.
I vaguely remember this.
So I was cleaning up my desk today because I got a lot of crap over there, as you know. I wore this many years ago on the show. The Patriots are in the middle of some sort of losing streak.
I think this was 2018 after they lost to Pittsburgh and then that Miami Miracle game, if I recall correctly.
So it might have been.
I don't remember.
And I created this paper bag hat with a Patriots logos that says, instead of the Pats, it says the Pits. And I came across it on my desk, and I thought today would be a good day to bring it out.
Yeah, far more appropriate now than it was back in 18.
So again, 2-7. And if I'm not mistaken, they are now in possession of the number one pick in the draft.
You are not mistaken.
Okay, so that feels like the kind of day to dust this puppy off.
Does it fit?
It does. Yeah,
Over your enormous dome?
I was going to put it on later. I was going to actually just use it as a prop in front of the computer here, but I got to find a way to get it to fill out first. So, but again, there you go. Patriots with the number one pick in the draft, and felt like a good day to bring out the New Orleans Saints hat.
So, what's your takeaway from the game? Like, do you come out feeling really excited about that play from Drake Maye and the good stuff that he did in this game, and that's like what you're sort of buzzing over and you ignore everything else? Or do you think more about the other stuff first before you think about the Drake Maye stuff?
So I already felt pretty good about Maye. What I am worried is that they're not going to do what's necessary to get the most out of him. That's what I'm worried about. To me, that's what struck me watching it. I believe in the kid's ability. There are some things that we don't know about him in terms of, for example, the highs were high yesterday, the lows were low. He made a couple of really stupid throws, fumbled the ball away, but also made some, great plays really on his own that, I don't want to call them breathtaking. That's a little too strong, but he made the kind of plays that say this kid is fearless.
That game-tying touchdown was breathtaking.
That was all him. And the only reason the guys got open is because Tennessee collapsed when he started to move because they thought he was going to run. You see all these defenders run at him, and he's able to throw the ball to an open space in the end zone. That was all him. All him. But he does need a team around him, or it's not going to work. And I'm worried about the cumulative effect of having a crappy team around a quarterback as time goes on. And that can be physical, that can be psychological, that can be emotional, whatever it is. At some point, he's bound to get frustrated. It's early. I'm not saying that's happening now. But if they're going to do this properly, he's got to believe in the operation. Because I think the talent is worthy of that sort of commitment from a fan. He's insanely talented.
For me, he wasn't the main takeaway at all. I know he's physically talented. I know he's got a lot of upside. That game-tying touchdown, again, was breathtaking. It was awesome. I think I know what he can be. My main takeaway is I hate the coaches. I can't stand the coaching stuff. I think they get worse by the week. That to me is the main takeaway. I think they're inept. I think they're in over their heads. They keep making the same mistakes. How flat did that team come out yesterday, too? Was that the easiest touchdown drive they've given up in this whole horrible season to Mason Rudolph and that wretched Tennessee offense? They drove through him like a hot knife through butter. I hated that. It's like, you're not ready. Oh, they're fighting for the coach. Are they? I don't think that's just a lack of talent thing either. I just think that they weren't motivated enough. I don't think they were ready to go. I think they botched the end of the first half. They still had 8 penalties. They're still kind of stupid. I can't stand the coaching staff more and more with each passing week. I don't think they're it. Whether it's Mayo, Van Pelt, the whole lot of them. I can't stand them.
So I'm not going to tell you how to feel as a fan. That's up to you. You want to feel more excited about the upside of Drake Maye, as highlighted by that last play of regulation, and some others, by all means. Go nuts. I'm not going to begrudge you. 617-779-0985. I told you before the season, I told you before the game, I told you before any of this, that it was going to be hard for me to get excited about Drake Maye running around and making plays in meaningless games that didn't matter, in losses against losing teams, what just sort of qualifies, and this is where we are, as glorified plastic yards, glorified exhibition football. Low leverage situations, low leverage football. I'm not denying the talent. I think that last play was as brilliant as you want to tell me it was. And I won't put up an argument. I'm just not going to get, I just knew I wouldn't get jazzed about it. Like the last thing I wanted the season to be was Drake Maye, and this is exactly how I would phrase it. Drake Maye running around in meaningless games that didn't matter against bad teams on a bad team and just doesn't do anything for me. I'm sorry, it doesn't. And boy, that's exactly what it is too. It's just running around. And that's not taking away any of the talent. And he does have arm talent, and he should become a premium NFL passer. I just don't care about the running. It shows me nothing. It does nothing for me. Because when it really matters, if you ever get to this point where you're playing real games against real teams, he's not going to be able to do that. And so it just, it's hard for me to get excited about it. I find myself gravitating more towards the concern than the excitement of the individual player. And the concern is really more to Murray's stuff, about the coaching staff. And where it comes out to me is in the decision not to go for 2. Okay? So let me start that part of the conversation by asking you, should they have gone for 2?
I say yes.
Did you think about it in real time?
Yes.
I say no. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it at all. Tie that game, get it into overtime. And I was arguing with some of the friends. They should go for it. They're playing with house money at this point. And I was like, no. Drake Maye just ran around for 13 seconds or whatever the hell it was. He's probably winded. No. Just kick the extra point, go to OT.
I would have gone for it. I thought this is one of those situations that you can really use it as sort of a learning type experience. First of all, the final drive was that. There was value in that final drive for Maye, as scattered as it was and sort of scattershot as it was. But at that point, yeah, go for it. Go for the 2 and see if you can win it. That's how I felt. What do you get to lose? You're a 2-6 football team. What are we doing?
Okay, so what bothers me is how I feel like they weren't ready for it. Not that they decided to go for it or not. It's just that they weren't dialed in the moment is what really concerns me. And, let me tell you, I don't like going for 2 in that spot. And I think one of the biggest cliches you see around the league, especially it happens with new coaches a lot. They get in that kind of spot, and it's, they go for the 2, they don't get it, and what does the coach say after the game? I believe in these guys, this cliche, of this river of cliches about, I believe in these guys, and I do it again, and it's about, going for it when you have a chance, and it's about belief in the guys, and I believe in the guys, and when I see that, I always roll my eyes, give me a break, guy. You just lost. So I'm not a go for it, in general. I'm not a go for it guy, and I hate the way the coaches sort of excuse it behind the belief in the guys. No, it was stupid. Okay? It's not that. So, part of me says I'm glad they didn't go for it. Were they ready to go for it?
No.
If they wanted to go for it, were they equipped to do it?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think they were ready to go. They had no timeouts, because they burned him on defense. On Tennessee's drive, you get 2 in overtime, right? They burned the 2 on Tennessee's long drive. And I can't tell whether Mayo was doing that to stop the clock to preserve time for himself, or he did it because his team was gassed. They got taken to the hill again. But so they had no timeouts, and it was obviously a hectic last play. Do you think the entire Patriots sideline operation was ready to go with the 2-point play?
No way. No way.
And the tell to me was post-game. Mayo was before he was even asked about the thing, was sort of excusing away why he didn't. And then he refused to answer why he didn't. Or he said, I'm not going to talk about it now. What do you mean you're not going to talk about it now? When he says you're not going to talk about it now, you're implying that there's something there. What's there, Gerard? Jimmy, give me the second post-game thing, just the second time. He was asked, I think, I don't know if the question's in there or not, if you can hear it, but he was asked, did the fact that Maye spent 12 seconds running around like crazy on the play before impact your decision?
Did his running around and kind of tiredness, it looked like, after factor into not going for 2 there?
I'm not going to get in. I don't want to get into that. It's a good question. I just don't want to get into it now.
You don't want to get into what? Were you all dialed in and ready to go? Did you know what you wanted to do and you acted accordingly? Or did you want to do something and the people upstairs wanted to do something else?
That's what I thought it was. This stuck out to me like a sore thumb after this game, that it feels to me that this is one of these collaborative efforts, and that maybe Van Pelt had his say, or it's Evan Rothstein, we shouldn't go for this, we should kick it. Like, this is one of those things that I just believe that I don't know if he had full say on that decision at the end of the game.
But it's just so simple. Well, why didn't you go for it? Well, we realized that their run defense against the play that we liked wasn't there, and, you just give an answer. Say, no, I'm not going to get into that now. Well, he's just telling you that there's something there that, he's not going to get into it. What's it? What are you talking about?
That's how I felt. I felt like there was a disagreement.
Too many cooks in the kitchen type
Yeah.
thing.
Now, and I don't know whether that means Mayer wanted to go for it or not go for it, but whatever it was, and if it was Evan Rothstein and his headset with the analytics and him disagreeing with Rothstein or him disagreeing with Van Pelt, or I heard someone say earlier in the day, maybe it might have been on the morning show, where he walked into the locker room and Kraft said something to him. Hey, did you think about going? Like, whatever it was, there was some disagreement before he got to the podium.
I like that last one. He went to it in the opening statement without being asked, and which leads you to believe, did he just have a conversation about it? Did the cameras catch? Because, of course, every time the Patriots score, we have to see the Krafts, right?
It's getting to be a bit much.
I mean, we
isn't
know
it?
this now,
Yeah.
right? Like, this week bothered me.
Yeah.
I think it's getting gratuitous. Aren't you glad, fans? You got to see Robert and Jonathan belly bump? Aren't you glad? Like, that make you feel better as a Patriots fan? The worst team in the league? Don't you feel better? Oh, it's so gratuitous, those owner shots. But I heard someone say today that on one of them that Jonathan might even have mouthed to Robert go for two. Have you heard this?
No, but I can look at it.
That Jonathan might have said, let's go for two or something along those lines. So that doesn't. So that ties into, did Gerard Mayo then go into the locker room and hear it from one of the Krafts, Jonathan, who's heavily analytically, bent, and the analysts like going for two and all that. And so was Mayo sort of just continuing a conversation he just had with Jonathan in the locker? I don't know. They weren't dialed. They weren't dialed in. Then they lose a coin flip and pick the wrong direction. They go into the wind. Right? So
Correct. You got that right.
Yeah,
so
right.
okay, so they score with no time on the clock. They aren't on the same page with the 2-point conversion. Then they lose a coin flip and pick the wrong side. Decide to go into the wind, which makes no sense. They don't, they lose a flip, so they don't get to decide, but they get to defend north end or south end. They get to defend the goal.
I thought they were screwed up by the wind the whole game. Joey Sly's first kick, they're kicking into the wind. It was like a 56-yarder. Just punt it. What are you doing? He's not going to make it.
Well, Mayo's asked about it today. He said, well, the wind's changed. Do you know that now, or do you not know that then?
I think they knew it after the fact.
You went into the wrong side. The guy, your kicker, just barely made the extra point going into that side. Mm-hmm. Maye's obviously final interception hung up in the wind. So you go into the wind they're just not dialed in. And they're not that's my takeaway. Yeah, you got a young kid who can play quarterback. You think he can do I'm sorry, he's going to need help. Not just on the roster, but on the coaching staff. And that's what this season's about as much as anything. And again, that's sort of what I come away with. Like they weren't ready for a 2-point decision. They weren't ready to properly execute that overtime coin flip, it feels like. And so, once again, your young quarterback ran around like crazy in a meaningless game against a horrible team and lost. I saw like that to me. I'm sorry. I can't walk away just that last play being the lasting image. It's all that other crap.
It was a pickup game.
So that's where we're starting.
That final play was like a pickup game.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm not taking anything away. That was a brilliant play by him. Great. And even the final drive, I'll give it all to him. I'll give it to him. It's just the 95 yards rushing, making a JO move.
I'm with you.
Like, big deal. The kid can run. The defense, for some reason, the defenses are giving it to him. So, not every, but most college quarterbacks do that now. Like, big deal. I don't care about the running. His running. And
not to mention he dives into guys like a missile. Dude, learn to slide. If you are going to run like this, learn to slide. It drives me crazy.
He ain't going to make it, if this is how he's doing it. But to me, it's just the whole thing. They weren't ready to go with the 2-point play, on the same page with the 2-point play. They weren't ready for like the coin flip on what end to defend. And it's like that's how I come out of that game.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.